And I was like, well, the next logical leap will be teaching realtors sales training, right?
Yep.
And they were basically saying, look, I can get you in front of Gary Keller, and he will push the heck out of your sales training. To which I said, if you can make that happen, then I've been drinking KW Kool-Aid this whole time. I just wasn't announcing it, right? And I tell this to you, and you say, well, actually, I'm looking at something else.
Yeah.
So what were you looking at?
Yeah, so I don't think I plugged this, but for those of you who said who want to go to Wealthy Way, it's just wealthyway.com to go get all that. But yeah, when you told me that, at the time I had my brokerage, we had, 150 to 200 agents, and I had been considering a move for a while because I kind of was not fed up with it, but like mad that it just couldn't scale like my other businesses. At the end of the day, a normal local brokerage is limited to everyone in that local market. And I'm just like, dude, that's so dumb. Like, if I could get everyone who wanted to be a realtor, in our brokerage, like, how big would we be, right? It'd be amazing. And, I started looking at these other business models, and, I realized that there's other brokerages out there like EXP, where you can essentially have your own mini brokerage, right? Like, anyone that you bring on EXP goes underneath you, even though you're not a broker. You don't even have to have the liability or anything. Like, you still get paid for all the people underneath you. And I said, that's like actually a really smart model. And it's what's allowed them to grow to being like the fastest growing brokerage in the world. And, during that time, I talked to a bunch of people at EXP, and I was like, you know what? I just am like not really feeling this vibe, and various reasons, which I won't get into. But it was
bad because I was about to ask you about those vibes, but continue.
One of the vibes, I'll just say one of the vibes being like, they kind of have this connotation of just being recruiters only, right? Like, we would get calls every freaking week from EXP people trying to recruit us over. And I'm just like, dude, you got nothing better to do? Like, go sell real estate, But it is just that. And I know that I've interviewed EXP people on my podcast, and they're all great. They're all crushing it in real estate. So I don't even want to say like that was the vibe, even though that was one of them. But there was just a lot of things. So anyways.
Well, I mean, just to add to that, it's weird, It's like whenever I get a call from an EXP agent, it's like I take a deep breath, like, and I think for a fraction of a second, do I want to take this call? Right? It's almost like,
is he calling me to recruit me or like talk about a deal?
Yeah, right. It's like when a title person calls you, or a mortgage person calls you, you're like, am I in the right frame of mind to take this call right now?
Yeah.
Or should I let this go to voicemail, see what they say, and then maybe I'll call them back?
Yeah. It's always like a sales pitch. Yeah. So thankfully I don't take any of those calls. My partner Nick had to deal with them all.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was like, I'm not really feeling it. And then around that time, I started to hear about this new company called Real, which very similar model in that, you can go nationwide, you can create a downline and revenue share and all that. And the more I looked at them, I was like, man, this is really cool. Like, they're newer. I think they have like 4,000 agents. There's a lot more opportunity for growth. The fees are cheaper, like everything about it. And I was like, you know what? And I talked to the CEO and all that stuff, and I said, let's just convert our brokerage over there.
Yeah.
We're going to lose some people who aren't happy about it, and that's fine. But in the long haul, it's going to give us the ability to expand a lot. And so my partner Nick and I made that choice to transfer all of the agents under Nick's name, and I'm happy we did it. But one thing, to your point, that we did in conjunction with that was I started a new company called Wealthy Agent, because I had been seeing the same things you were seeing of like, man, realtor education is kind of, I don't want to say outdated, but the same stuff.
Yeah. It hasn't really been revolutionized.
Yeah. I mean, like, you can pretty much contribute the majority of realtor education to someone with the last name Ferry, and they both teach the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's cold call, it's, role play, it's expireds and door knock and like whatever. And it's great. Like, it does work. But the more I looked at realtor education, the more I was like, man, This stuff doesn't like make you wealthy. Like this stuff makes you money, but if you were to ask me what I taught our realtors at Forever Home Realty, it was very different. I was saying, hey, it ain't about just making more commissions. Like that's great, but how about we buy some rental properties?
Mhm.
How about some of these listing appointments you're going on? You actually try to buy the house. Like that will make you way more money than shooting for a 1%, 2% listing.
Yeah.
You know, why don't we talk about building your personal brand and using social media the right way to go get leads and build a brand and get organic traffic? Why don't we talk about taxes and how you can just be a real estate professional and pay no taxes, just doing these right things in conjunction with each other? And yes, let's focus on being a realtor too and, you know, learn those marketing techniques, get better at sales and negotiations. And like, yeah, we're going to talk about that as well, but let's cover these things that actually make you the wealth.
Right. And so when you reach out to me to talk about your vision,
Yeah.
right, I was looking at those are all the same exact things I was trying to do at Stunning Homes Realty, right? We had over 100 agents, and we don't talk about like how to help people buy and sell houses to financial freedom, right? We talk about, hey, like that is important for active income.
Yep.
But what are you doing to create wealth for you and your family so that like I gave everyone in our office full permission. If you ever saw me at a continuing education class at the age of 60, shoot me. Right? That we clearly missed the mark if that's the case.
Yeah. Well, and it's just like, you know, here, and this is the truth, and this is the same as Real and EXP and every other brokerage in the world. They don't get paid when you buy a rental property, right?
Nope.
When you wholesale a deal or you flip a deal, they don't make money. In fact, it's more liability for them. So you'll never see brokerages promoting you to do that stuff. Okay. With taxes, most of them have no clue, right? I own a tax company. I understand it. Like I get why brokerages don't know because it's not in their best interest to teach their client. Like it doesn't make them any more money when you save money on taxes. Like it's
or
not.
if you are successful outside of buying and selling homes,
Yeah.
then you're no longer feeding them.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, 100%, right? Like, as you start doing things differently. Same thing with social media, all right? Like, Gary Keller, okay, you used him as an example. I mean, the dude's obviously done very well for himself.
Yeah.
He didn't use social media to get to where he's at, right? I get more views than Gary Keller.
Mm-hmm. He is, though, the best example I've seen of like information marketing where like, let me give you a book.
Yeah.
Right. And then you will buy my product.
Yeah.
He's probably the best ever.
He's an old school marketer, right?
Yeah.
Like that stuff works. That's direct marketing. It's fantastic. I've learned a lot from him. So I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
What I am saying is the way he got rich was in a different era
Mm-hmm.
than the way a new realtor is going to get rich.
Absolutely.
And so do you want to learn from Gary Keller, who got rich a way that's not relevant today compared to how you can fast track it? I don't know, dude. I'd rather go learn from the people who are doing it the way that you're going to end up having to do it. And so I just looked at all this stuff and I was like, yep, I mean, brokerages are not going to teach social media because they don't know how.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, they're not qualified. It's like if we talk about building companies offline right now here, but like we have great companies, not because you and I are great videographers or great programmers or web designers or anything like that.
Right.
Right. We have it because our people are awesome. So would you rather have your broker who doesn't know how to post on Instagram teach you?
Yeah, and so like the reason I'm not even like I guess I'm hating, but like the reason I'm saying all this is because if you've been a realtor this whole time at a big name brokerage or wherever, even a small boutique brokerage, and they haven't taught you this stuff, and you obviously know it's important. You're watching the show, then you obviously have a different mindset than most realtors.
Yep.
But you're like, man, why am I not getting traction? Well, it's because you're not learning the right things. And so, to long story short, like I said with Tykes and all my other businesses, when I see a problem with no apparent solution, I'm like, well, I guess I'll create the solution.
Mm-hmm.
And so I created Wealthy Agent. I really like the Wealthy, like branding.
I don't think it's going to pull negatively in any survey, so I think you're good.
Yeah, I really like it. So, you know, I created Wealthy Agent, which teaches all of those things. Right. And yeah, you know, we're teaching, like, we have 3 Zoom calls a week. I have literally pulled all the best coaches from across the country to train on different things. And so, like, Steve is a part of Wealthy Agent as a coach, as a student himself, as everything. And he is training all of the students in Wealthy Agent on sales, right? I just did a training literally 2 days ago. No, actually, might have been yesterday. I did one yesterday. And it's ironic we're talking about Gary Keller. I was actually praising Gary Keller because I was talking about his book, The One Thing, to them. And I was telling them, really about how you can focus in on one thing on their business and really getting deep down into the marketing. But, my previous call with them, I talked about personal brand and how to build that up in their market. But, we've got guys like us. We've got, my partner with the CPA side. We've got people talking about flipping and wholesaling. We've got people talking about how to build a team for your realtors. We got people talking about best practices with cold calling, best practices with, door-to-door sales, like everything.
KPIs,
VAs, like you name it. We've got 3 calls a week from different people, every single week. So, like, the perspectives you get, nobody has it. Like, it just doesn't exist.
So